enjoy talking to you, Coach. Hi, and welcome to Why Net with Janice, and I'm Janice, your host. Our goal of our show is to help others to reach their goal. Tonight our topic is relationship coaching and intimacy in relationships when it comes to dating, and why are we having a hard time finding that special person to date and eventually be our mate. So today in my studio, I have a wonderful guest that's going to talk to us about relationships and who to look for when we're dating and how to go about dating in the sense. Her name is Yhanna Macmillan. She has her own coaching business, so she talks of a relationship person. She's going to talk about for us. I confused that a little bit. Welcome to the show, Yhanna.
Thank you
Hi.
so much. Hi, Janice.
Hi. Please first tell us a little bit about your business on relationship coaching and relationship intimacy part.
Okay, so I am a professional counselor, been a counselor for 15 years, working with families and students in the Chicago public school systems. On the side, I've been working with families and couples and women, and so I wanted to take things higher. And so in my training, I dabbed into intimacy and relationship coaching, and which allowed me to open up my own practice so I can start doing more work with women and couples.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you also go by Yhanna
Yeah.
Soul.
Yhanna Soul, yes.
Reach it into our souls.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that
That's
title.
exactly it. You hit it right on the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I was looking at your website and trying to figure out what topic I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
I know you go with intimacy and relationship, and a lot of couples are having problems. I mean, 50% of marriages are getting divorced. So I thought this would be great to talk about how to not only find a mate with dating and the relationship-wise, but also that also blends into marriage. You get the right person, how do you date, who do you pick, and that leads into the marriage part.
Yeah.
So I was looking on your website, and I found one of your great articles on how to find or pick a right man.
Yeah.
But we're actually going to look at this as either man and woman.
Sure.
So what are the top 3 things and what we should look for to find a person, perfect mate or man?
Well, you know, it's really not as simple as just the top 3 things because it really goes a little bit deeper.
Okay.
You know, once we flush through the muck, then we can really focus on the top three things. And here's the muck. The muck is the secret to really finding the perfect mate is really being in relationship with yourself.
Okay.
Right.
Gotta like yourself.
Right. You gotta like yourself. You gotta love yourself. You have
And know
to
yourself.
know yourself completely and intimately. I love the title of Intimacy and Relationship Coach because intimacy represents into me, I see. Taking a closer look at who you are. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know what your desires are and your expectations, then how can you expect someone else to come into your life? How can you expect someone else to know how to make you happy? So it starts with being in relationship with yourself.
Well, that makes sense. Like I always tell people when I do any type of coaching, I help out youth group, learn your personality.
Yeah.
You need to learn who you are, what your goals are, what you're aiming for, what your likes and dislikes are,
Yeah.
and what comprises you and your DNA, you know? And if you don't know who you are, like you said, how can you find someone else?
Yeah.
And if you don't know who you are, if you know who you are, you know what your likes are, then you know what you want. Versus
Absolutely.
randomly picking that guy.
Yeah. And I've found that a lot in the work that I do, the women that come to me, the couples that come to me, you know, 30 and 40, even 50 and 60 years old, they have no idea who they are. They have no idea what they want. They just kind of go on expectation. You know, it's expected of me once I graduate high school or college and get a job, then it's expected of me to get into this relationship. And maybe the first person who likes me, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you
Right.
know,
You don't really
instead
know.
of really getting to know them. But never really taking the time, you know, there's no book on how to get to know thyself. There's nothing written that tells us how to become more intimate with ourselves. Society tells us to find someone, but does not teach us how to turn the mirror and just look at ourselves, you know. And to be honest with you, I didn't know either. I just learned myself 7 years ago.
Okay.
See, for me, it was at the end of a marriage. For me, it was at the end of a marriage. See, I got married thinking that this is what I was supposed to do.
Right.
I was in college. The next step was to get married.
Right.
And then I found myself in a 17-year marriage, you know, putting my entire identity into him.
Okay.
And so at the end of that particular marriage, I didn't know who I was. I had no idea. What's my
Right.
purpose? What's my identity? Who am I without? So it was a 7-year journey of soul searching. Great thing that I was a counselor, because I did have some awareness that this is not how it's supposed to be and that I needed to learn more. So on my journey of healing, I found intimacy into me.
Okay.
I see practices that taught me practices of self-love and acceptance.
Now, did any of this of your soul searching, did it connect towards God or focusing on God?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm a Christian, been a Christian all my life. And so all of this soul searching helped me to get closer into my relationship with God because, I mean, to be honest, I was angry at one point. I really was angry. I thought I was angry with God, but it was because I did not know myself. And so once I stopped being so angry and got to a place where I was centered and balanced, it put me back in the right relationship with God. You know, He is the authority of my life. He is the authority of everything that I do, you know. And so in that, it definitely got my relationship tighter and closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first things first,
Yeah.
we have to know ourselves.
Absolutely.
To thy own self be true and to know
Yes.
thyself. Okay.
Yes.
Number 2,
Number 2, you have to be happy.
happy.
You have to be happy. You have to be able to be happy because we look for other people to make us happy. And that's not fair. It's
Right.
no one's job to make
make you
you happy.
happy.
We are the creator
Leave
of
it
our
alone.
own destiny.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so we have to know what makes us happy, you know?
And we always look towards our spouse to make
Don't
us happy.
we? We have these expectations, and you know what we do when we do that? We set them up for failure.
Right.
Right? Because we're looking for them to make us smile, make us laugh, make us feel good. When in essence, it actually goes back to number 1. You see how they kind of intertwine.
Right.
You know, getting to know yourself. And once you learn yourself, then know the things that make you happy. Once you can make yourself happy, then you won't be so dependent on someone else.
Right.
Yeah, does
Okay.
that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you go into a relationship and you're looking for something that you don't have versus you have to look into yourself first, look into God and figure out who I am.
Yeah.
And then solve that problem first before you can open your eyes to someone else.
Absolutely.
And share.
Absolutely.
Because then if not, you're looking at them to solve all your problems, make you happy, and that is definitely a disaster in the mix.
Yes, like I said, a setup for failure, so you're absolutely right.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
have know ourselves, be happy.
Be happy.
Be happy if you know it. Clap your
Clap your
Be
hands,
happy if you
right,
know
I
it,
thought-
clap your hands.
right.
What's number 3 at the top?
Number 3, most important, you got to speak your truth. You got to say what you want. You got to ask for what you want. And you also have to be in position to be able to listen to receive that as well. You know, so speaking your truth is so ultimately, it's so important because, and again, I just use my own personal experiences as well as what I see with clients that I've worked with, is that they're afraid to say what they want because they're afraid of hurting someone's feelings or inconveniencing someone. And so then what they do, they stifle
Right.
their voice. And then it becomes, you know, just kind of stagnant.
Right.
And then now here I am 2 years, 5 years, 10 years into a relationship, and I never spoke my truth. I never said what I wanted.
Now, does that kind of sometimes backfire if you're saying what you want, but you're out there still dating? When do you say, this is what I want, or is that an internal thing? I want a man with strong arms, with a good job that can lead my family, or I want a woman that does speak her mind, but a great cook, not me. I mean, when do you say that? I mean, you think that to yourself ahead of time, then when you go to start dating?
Yeah, see,
When do you
you
say that?
you should know this right off the bat, and this all goes into 1, 2, and 3.
So it's
Speaking
not
your truth.
something you say as a truth. I want a guy that has a full-time job and then a career for so long.
Yeah.
Or is it something that
So
you say to yourself, but not to him?
you can say it to yourself, and then you're going to attract it. Okay. So let me just add a piece to that. Let's put a number 3, but bullet point A.
Okay.
Okay. So the piece to that is you have to be what you want. If you want a person who's honest, then guess what you should be? Honest. If you want a person who has money and who's bringing certain things to the relationship, then you have to be that. How can you expect someone to fulfill these needs if you're not living it yourself?
Right.
I want a person who's church going and God fearing. Well, if you're not church going and God fearing, you know, you're going to project and you're going to attract what you put out there.
Right, like the fruits of the spirits.
Absolutely.
Galatians 5:23, I think. Fruits of the spirit: gentleness, kindness,
Yeah.
sincerity,
Yeah.
all those.
Yes.
Honesty, patience. You need
Absolutely.
to display those
Absolutely.
because that's what you want.
Yeah, because
But
you
if
know.
you're displaying anger, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I'm displaying anger, but yet I want someone gentle. Yeah. You're actually being a hypocrite.
Right.
You know, and I know that's kind of harsh, but that's the reality of it. You know, so this is why it goes back to number 1. You know, really get to know who you are and take the time to love you, take care of yourself, and walk the walk that you want. And once you are, and once you do that, you will attract the right person. You won't have to go out there looking for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. They'll come to you.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking that and praying that for my husband I have now was definitely God sent.
Yeah.
But it did take a lot of soul searching and me in prayer and talking to God to find out who I was again.
Yeah.
And because also your identity changes,
It
especially if you're
does.
on your second marriage, or just identity changes. You're from college and now you're a career person.
Sure.
It keeps changing those roles and those hats.
Yeah.
I was a mom, a full-time mom with kids at home. Now I'm an empty nester, and now getting my life a different aspect like the TV show.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking at myself with the different roles and the person I want to attract,
Right.
even with the niceness and kindness, that actually plays a role in that too.
Right, right.
Because I'm different.
Right.
I'm more outgoing.
We're
Where when I
ever
was a mom,
changing.
I was at home or
Yeah.
focused on the kids. So we have to think about that too.
Yeah.
Knowing yourself, and I had to
Yeah.
know myself now.
We're ever changing. We're always growing. We're always evolving. We should never put limitations, and we really want to be careful about allowing the titles in our life to be our identity.
Right.
You know, these are just the things that we do, and this is who we, the avenues that we work in, but it does not have to be all encompassed, right? You know, because we're so much more than what we are. But we put these limitations on us, you know? And once you're open to that, then change won't become so shocking, so devastating. You can mourn loss and you could say, oh, well, I wish and I miss this, but the transition into your next phase and steps won't be so hard.
Well, see, one of the main reasons I want you on the show is talking about relationships and dating, because it also blends towards marriage. I mean, over 50% of our marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
And I notice even in church and some of my friends in public venues that there's a lot of single women.
Yeah.
We don't see a whole ton of single men, or they're not hanging out of the place the single women are
Right,
at. Something's
right,
wrong there.
right.
But it's like, how can those women, I know a lot of those women want husbands again after you've been divorced before and hurt and pain. How easy is it, or what to do to attract Mr. Right?
Right. So the first thing is fear. Fear guides us, and if we allow it to just consume us, it can leave us stuck and limited and believing these self-loathing thoughts of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy.
Right.
You know, if I had one failed marriage, I'm a failure. And so one is to really debunk those misguided beliefs.
Okay.
To know that this is just a situation, and if it didn't work out, it's okay.
Right, because a lot of people are afraid, men and
Yeah.
women. They've been hurt before, even if they haven't been married, but in a relationship.
Yeah.
And now, you know, that one breaks up, say like in college, you know, we all had the college sweetheart.
Yeah.
Now that's gone. It's like, devastated. You're
Right.
afraid to start over again and get hurt again.
Yeah, that pain really hurts. Who wants to feel that pain?
Most people don't.
Most don't, but you know what? You have to go through the storm. You have to. You know, my pain was my purpose. My test was my testimony, and I didn't want to go through it. It hurt really bad. But coming out on the other end, I'm in this position, I feel like I'm stronger, I'm happier than ever before, you know. And had I not gone through the pain, had I not gone through my struggles, you know, I wouldn't be able to sit here, you know, speaking about, there's joy on the other side of that.
There's joy. I did a few episodes on marriage.
Yeah.
And even my technical director, Mike, has been married for almost 50 years, I would say.
That's
and it's like,
beautiful.
you don't see a lot of that, or couples now, the younger people getting married, they're getting divorced quicker.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we jump back on? It's just, besides fear, is it, what do we do to jump back on?
You know, the first thing is you know, divorce is an awesome opportunity to really self-reflect. It goes back to those steps.
Right.
It really is an opportunity to say, what do I need to do? What went wrong?
Right.
You know,
'Cause
what are the
it's
things?
two people that were in it.
It
so
is, you
it's
know,
not just one person.
but because we can't control the other person, we have only control of ourselves. It's a time for self-reflection for self and see where is it that I need to grow. And here's a question that I pose to my clients, right? Is, would you date you?
Ooh.
Would you date you?
Right.
Are
I like
you
that.
in right relationship with
like that.
yourself? You know?
I like that.
And that poses a, would I date me? I don't know.
Never thought about
And then
that.
if not, you know, list the reasons why,
Why?
you know?
I like that. Putting
Yeah.
it back on the client.
Yeah.
Because if you wouldn't want to date yourself, why would you think someone else would want to date you?
Why would you think someone else would want to date
And
you?
I don't think most people, even though I know one of the top three of the three we're talking about is getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
Most people don't internalize or look at themselves. What am I doing wrong in a relationship?
Yeah.
Am I attractive? Meaning attractive, like I'm nice and I'm kind, am I gentle? You know, I go on a date and I'm yelling at the waitress.
Yeah.
What am I going to be doing to my husband?
It's a contradiction, and
if
they're
I'm
looking
gonna
at the
marry
like,
him eventually?
ooh.
Right.
Right.
So a lot of people don't think that. I love that. Think of yourself. If would you date yourself?
Would you date you? And then also when you go out, and also when you go out on a date, ask thought-provoking questions. Not just, so what school did you go to, and you know, and how much money do you make? What's your job? And that stuff is
What car you
great.
got?
But how about asking, so what do you admire most about your mom? What do you admire most about your dad?
Oh, I like
You
that.
know, because that's really thought-provoking. That's really getting deeper into a person and respond and how they, you know, really getting to see their patterns and their ways and behaviors.
Because a lot of people are very superficial.
Oh,
My
yeah.
husband Phil and I were talking about that. People go with the looks and they don't go with the substance. Just the appeal of that person.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks good, this, and that. He makes this money.
Yeah.
But the person might not have any substance inside, you know, mental, emotional, or even stand for anything. Any purpose,
Absolutely.
spiritual, or just social. Nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But they're superficial that, oh, this guy looks great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Have you ever, and just one more question that and just thinking, because I do these workshops with couples, and another one is, and I had a young couple come into workshop, and we played like the dating game.
Okay.
And I posed some of these thought-provoking questions, and another question that I had them kind of do a turn and talk.
Okay.
What type of a partner do you aspire to be for me? Instead of us quickly saying, well, I want this, and that, and of course that's important.
Right.
But how about take a step back, sit back and just ask the person, what type of a person do you aspire to be for me?
Okay.
You know? And that's just kind of a different twist on it. Really getting to hear their thoughts,
What they want to
wants,
give to
and
the
expectation, and
relationship.
give.
Right.
And then that's your opportunity to say, does it match up to what I want?
What you want.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to teach couples how to co-create a relationship. Instead of just coming in with, this is who I am and this is who she is, and then let's see if we can make it work.
Right.
How about co-creating? And co-creating means having those deep, intimate, into me I see conversations. So because what we're trying to do is we're really trying to build lasting relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
A lasting relationship.
Yeah.
I know, like the marriages, and I don't believe all marriages are the 50% of those marriages, some of them could have been saved if there was more communication and talking.
Yeah.
Okay. They could have been more saved if there was just more communication and talking. And a lot of your questions you just said actually are questions that even spouses should say to each other, even if they've been married 10 years. I mean, I've known people that unfortunately have been married 10 years and they're like roommates.
Yeah.
They don't know who they are
Yeah.
or what they're planning on giving a relationship, or they probably never even asked them, what do you plan to bring onto the table?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I believe in intimacy practices, intimacy techniques that teach couples how to have that conversation.
Okay.
You know, eye gazing. You know, have you noticed how difficult it is to really look at a person in their eyes?
Right.
You know, it kind of makes you nervous and you look away. But when I have a couple in front of me just doing strong eye gazing or just genuine passionate eye gazing,
I've heard
you'll
one
be surprised.
lesson is just for the couples to sit for like a few minutes and just staring at each other's eyes.
That's it.
Not saying anything, just staring
That's what I
into
mean.
each other's eyes.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
that's powerful.
That's probably also something for dating. If the date can't look you in the eye.
Yeah, you gotta work
work
like, okay, why does
Yeah.
it keep looking away?
Why I keep looking away?
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of couples need to build the intimacy. We wind up getting married because that's superficial, that spark stage, and then we have kids, and then we get lost in the relationship.
Yeah.
Well, here it is 18 years later after the first child's born, and we don't know who their spouse are.
Yeah.
We don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Our identity's gone.
Absolutely.
So you also work with couples,
Yes.
and mostly to get the bond back together again.
Yes.
Not solving issues, just more, like marriage. Like I said, it is more of that. But you're not going to that depth. You're going the intimacy part route.
Well,
of getting to know each other.
I mean, I've worked from the spectrum of just new couples.
Okay.
You know, just a few months in, and so we're thinking about next steps, and you know, so we want to start, you know, creating intimacy and seeing what that looks like outside of what we hear. We really want to go deeper. So you know, so that's fun and that's always nice.
Do you think
know?
a lot of couples that are married really haven't explored each other? I mean, mentally knowing really who each other are.
Yeah, I'm speaking from experience, and again from my clients. I was married 17 years.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I still feel like I didn't know him.
Wow.
And that was because we never had the real deep conversations. You know, I got married for the wrong reasons, you know? And we grew and we loved, but not enough, not strong enough. And there's no ill feel, no ill will, you know? We just, that's why couples grow apart, because they don't really know each
Keep
other.
talking. They're not your best friend, and they really should be.
they
My
should
husband's
be.
my best friend.
That's
He's
beautiful.
my best friend.
Yeah.
We also did when we first got married, and we were actually in the dating part. I won't say married, we were dating at the time. I actually printed up after we were engaged pre-marriage questionnaire questions.
Love it.
So we were able to ask those in-depth questions, and there were a couple of them was like, huh? What was your response? I'm thinking, is that really adding up? And I know he was probably looking at me like, huh? Too. But those were questions we had to go over. And I don't think a lot of couples that I've spoken to that have actually went over the questions and in-depth questions.
Yeah.
It's the superficial. We have
Yeah.
fun together,
Yeah.
you know. So with the talk and the communicating, are you finding that these couples are more open? They're not coming to you when they have the problems? Or they come with you just to keep the bond going?
They're coming to me to keep the bond going, and I've worked with couples who are at the end of their marriage, who say, you know what, this is the last straw. I tried this, this, and that. I heard about you. Let's just see. And in the end, you know, they walk away saying, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were feeling this way, you know, because so much muck got in the way, they couldn't see. But once we cleared out a lot of that muck, they were able to really reconnect and rebuild on a new platform. So the basis of my workshops are the questionnaires. Some of those questions that I think I love that. That's huge, those deep, intimate questions. And then at the end, creating core values together. That's that co-creating. List the things that's most important. A lot of that's built from the questionnaires once they dig through that. And then sit down together and write your core values and put them in a pretty frame and set it somewhere where you can see it every day. Don't have it hidden, you know, on the refrigerator every day when you go in and get some Kool-Aid or something, right? You're reminded, you know, that God is first. You
That's
know,
first.
our family is next.
Family's
You know,
next.
educate, whatever it is.
Right.
Date night is most important.
Right.
And
My
honor
husband and I
it.
go on date night
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time. Even though we're married, we have our Friday
You
night
have
date
to.
nights and everything
Yeah.
else. We
Yeah.
keep the date night going.
Yeah.
So we can communicate. We can have fun, and we can also talk. Because once that's gone, it's kind of hard, in my opinion, sometimes to get it back.
It is.
Because our busy lives.
Yeah.
So we only have a few more minutes left with talking about this.
Yeah.
What aspect or what type of advice would you give to first women or men in dating? Okay.
Yeah.
You said get over the fear. How should they go about, or what's the top three things that they should look for a person? Their character.
The top 3 things that you should look for in a person. Boy, that's a great question. Well, yeah, definitely their character, who they are as an individual, you know. 2, their beliefs.
Their beliefs.
You know, what are their fundamental beliefs?
Okay.
You know, and beliefs, and then 3 would be what are their goals?
Okay.
You know, what are they looking for? What are they striving for?
Right, what are they
You
striving
know,
for?
what's your next? You know.
Yeah, they just
And-
want to be a couch model, just laying on the couch doing nothing all day.
Because if we
Okay.
decide to take the relationship further, then guess what? I can't say I didn't know.
Right. Oh,
Like,
yes.
I knew that this was you. I knew this. I'm not surprised
Right.
because I had that talk with you.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go through questions, those thought-provoking questions,
Yeah.
versus, you know, what
The
salaries do you
superficial,
make, the
right.
superficial things.
Yeah.
Do you work out?
Yeah.
You know, I knew
Yeah.
someone who didn't want to date someone because she ran funny.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to hear about that later on. But I'm like, that's so superficial. She
Yeah.
runs funny. That's it? You know?
Yeah.
So I really think these are great topics that people need to go, because 50% of our marriages are ending in divorce.
Sadly.
So
Yeah.
I do thank you for coming on the show about that.
Yeah.
Marriage is one of the sacred things that we have to hold.
Yeah.
I mean, we're letting someone come into our lives almost 100%,
To
you
share
know, our
our
and we're
space.
giving ourselves, they're giving their self. It's something that should be valued.
Yeah.
You know, something that's honored, especially in your household.
Yeah.
You get married and you're happy to get married and lucky to get married. You don't want to lose it.
Sure.
That's for sure.
Sure.
So I wanted people to talk. I want you to come in and talk about relationships, what to look for, because if you get the wrong person,
Ugh.
you don't
It
want to
can
go down
be-
the road of
Be
divorce.
pretty hard,
It's
right?
pretty hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show.
Thank you.
Check out our website, YhannaSoul.com.
Yes.
We
Yes.
flashed it on here.
Yes.
If you have any questions about this topic, please write us. Our email's up there. This is Janice with Why and Why Not. I appreciate you coming. Watch us on Comcast Wednesday 19, channel 19 at 6:30. Thank you very much and have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks.